So as we move along, Aaron's going to go over the calendar events. You should have all received kind of the timeline of events that's going to be partaken this fall.
Some of you guys have already gotten an email. We sent out that email about the meeting. We attached the timeline as well as the HAG. As you can see, we have all the dates on there, when things are due, when the budgets are. First patents are going to be due this Friday at 4 p.m. and they will be turned in downstairs to Cecilia at the secretary desk. And they'll be along with the patents, the entry fees, and all the other displays, patents, as well as PBL, storefront window, and banner as well. Just a few more dates. Groundbreaking is going to be the 25th, and the first budget is going to be the 24th.
All right, moving on to patent instructions. You can also see that you have a patent direction sheet in front of you. What you really need to take out of the packet is there's a patent cover and a patent participation agreement that you need to return back to us. Some of the things that go over in the patent, each patent should include a rough sketch of the display seen from the ground level. Patents must annotate any movement or electricity. And if you're going to have any people on top of your on display, that should also be annotated in there, little caricatures of it. And like Aaron said, these are due the 10th at 4, and they're doing on the base level. You take it right in there. Cecilia's office is right inside.
Also, for the patents, we need to know what, if you guys have a theme or any other type of thing, like if you guys want to do a Grinch theme like a house did last semester, so we need to know that as well because we don't want houses to have the same themes as they have out there.
Go.
I'm going to cover payment real quick. Sorry guys, my voice is a little down from football game and weekend and stuff. But payment, what we're going to do, we're kind of changing it this year. Instead of you writing 15 different checks for Yelling Kell, for painting Victory Lane, storefront window displays, we're actually going to have a whole receipt with all that stuff listed on there and then one payment at the bottom. And I believe, Kurt, that each receipt is for each house, or is it for each parent?
It's for each pairing, and the only thing that is separate is the Yellow Hill payment is still separate because you don't know how many people you have in your skit, and that's still separate. But the registration fees for everything are together in one shot. Hopefully, it simplifies it for everybody.
Yep. And again, that's due this Friday, the 10th at 4, along with everything else that you guys have been on, that we've been talking about today. So downstairs, Cecilia again.
And so just for a little clarification, Cecilia's office is behind the window that's inside the door. So when you walk in on the bottom level from the parking lot, you want to take an immediate right and go to the window. Okay.
You also received a participation agreement form. This is to be filled out by every single person who is going to be working on your line display. So you only have one form with you right now. So you're going to have to make photocopies for everyone else who's going to be building and whatnot. And then you'll have to turn that in along with all the patents and the patent cover and all that stuff.
Also, we threw in a budget from what we want you guys to turn in for this year, because I know some people have turned in different types and different templates for budgets. So we're going to have one universal budget template, and we'll be sending that out in an email before the budgets are due, so you guys can just fill in the information. And one thing we want to stress is, before in the past years, people forgot to put taxes down, and we want to make sure that you guys put taxes down because we don't want to be running through every single budget and adding taxes to everybody's. And when you guys turn their budgets on Friday, we'll be going through those, and we'll send them back on Tuesday or Wednesday sometimes in that week, and that'll be the finalized budget. If you guys have any problems or any miscalculations, we'll be sending that back, so that'll be the finalized budget that you guys can put in for that next week.
Guys, I was going to jump in real quick. I'm Kurt, I'm the Opioid Advisor. I just wanted to cover a couple things. First of all, thanks for covering the safety meeting. It's important. This is the result of a discussion that happened a number of years ago to improve how you all think about lawn display safety and make sure that these are things that are all in your mind and are covered. And we have some great resources on campus. We want you guys to make use of them as we do, as Ben and Aaron have and will throughout the year. Penalties, you're going to read the HAG. There's a whole bunch of penalties for safety things. Something Brian and Bruce and I were just talking about. We don't want you to be penalized for any safety things. You very likely will not. when you guys are inspected by Brian and Bruce and Aaron and Ben, they'll come around, they'll make suggestions, they'll talk about some things you need to work on. If you take care of those things, you won't have any problems. So you're going to read through there and see all these deductions and things. Our goal is to make sure that no one has any deductions at all for safety, and I'm sure that you all will have no problem accomplishing that. And make sure too, if you have any questions about anything, Aaron and Ben, you know their email addresses, you need to contact them, call them, make sure that you're talking to them, especially as patents come due, to make sure that any new and different things which you inevitably come up with are covered, and that we know that they're coming, and that way we can make sure to have them evaluated by, Brian and Bruce, and make sure that that's all okay. So if you have any questions, make sure you talk to them and ask us now too. So
Yeah, and just another thing, like Brian and Bruce said before, make sure that you send it to us first, so that way we can kind of be on the same page as you guys as far as what you're trying to build.
I had to add one more thing. Brian showed the equipment up there, and one of the things we ran into last year is people were buying the proper stuff, but still weren't installing it correctly. Like, if you've got a waterproof box, you've got to have waterproof connectors going into the box as well, because running a wire through an open hole at the edge of a waterproof box doesn't do any good. So we're looking for the whole system here, not just the proper components.
Yeah, and just another thing that I need to touch on. With the budget, we will be sending out a market price. We'll be going out to Lowe's and Home Depot here later, and we'll be sending out so that we all kind of go along the same template as far as prices go, and it'll be really easy to fill out this form that way. Is there any questions?
I got one. As far as taxes go, for recycled materials and donated materials, how do we, is tax included on that as well? Even though we're not paying for anything?
No.
Okay, I might be dumb, but I didn't see a skip link when you said anywhere.
All right, we just had a discussion. How it works is during the Friday night events, is judges are riding around on gators and golf carts judging you guys. And then how it is those judges are guaranteed to be there 5 minutes. And that's it, just 5 minutes. They might stay there for the whole skit, or they maybe have to move along quickly if they gotta get to their house. Skits could be longer than 5 minutes. I know skits being 15 minutes long, but you're only guaranteed just to be there 5 minutes. And you won't know really which skit or which time. We've left 2 rounds of judges going around and perform 3 times.
It's a combination of allowing you guys to be free in how you do your display. So we don't want your display to necessarily start and stop every 5 minutes, and only when you're supposed to go on. But we realize that for the judges to see everybody in a logical amount of time, we can only give them 5 minutes of each display. So you can do a 5-minute skit. You can have it circulating the whole time. You can do all kinds of different things, but realize that we're going to give you times that you need to present a 5-minute area, and 2 of those times throughout the night will be judged. And again, Aaron and Ben will send that all out to you as it comes on. But there's no rule about skit length in the HAG because of that. But yeah, you're only judged, like Laura said, for 5 minutes.
Can only active members work on the long split?
Yes, it's only active members. We've had a big problem with that in the past, but only active members that can't have alone not working on it, or even people who are go to college but they're not in the house, just active. Or I believe people who might be in your house but haven't been initiated yet, they can still work on it too, as long as they're like pledging there.
As long as they filled out the participant agreement form.
And that applies to all Halloween events, not just ones.
For our patents, like for the outline of the skit, how specific are you?
I would like you to put every single structure that you're planning on having in your lawn display, along with the theme, if you guys are planning on having any type of theme for the skit, and also the participants on each structure, because you can have more than 5 on each, and you can't have people above 10 feet.
So we don't actually need to have like our skit written
No.
out by our.
No.
Just the structures that are going to be on the wall.
Yeah, it's the theme, so that way we can judge whether, like
And I hate to keep interrupting. One last thing. The HAG, as you have received it, is online on the Homecoming webpage, isuslc.org/homecoming2010. There's a Cardinal Division link, and it's under there for Homecoming Activities Guides. And I will go downstairs tonight, and I'll make sure that the individual participant agreement form is also there. So if you lose the one you have or whatever, it'll be online. You can print it off there, and you can make sure everybody signs it.
Can you go back to your statement about going to like Lowe's and Menards and finding prices and stuff?
We'll be going to Lowe's, and you see in there you have reused equipment, like 2x4s if you guys have extra ones at the house. We'll be going to Lowe's and finding prices for every single, most of the main things that you guys will be using on your structures, so then you guys can mark that as the third of the price because reused materials are a third of the price. So if you guys have 10 2x4s, we'll have a list price of what a 2x4 is worth, and then we'll just put that as the third of what the material is worth. Instead of you guys having to go to Lowe's and getting a quote for that.
So if we go and like get sponsorship or something and people give us a deal on it, then we're just.
As long as you guys have a receipt or any type of documentation of that, then that's fine. Any more questions?
Well, thank you for coming. I guess that's the end of our presentation.